But no, we've been together for 2 years and we had to make a change.
And there were a lot of people for every role that kind of like crossed our mind.
My personal goal for this year would be to actually just prove to everyone that I'm still relevant.
Season 6 is finally here. Every game live in the studio. But how do the players feel?
I feel like having all the games land-based is beneficial for SMITE. Like it wasn't great for me because I have to make the move. All the European players do. It is a bit of an inconvenience in a way, but it's something. It's a choice. You don't have to do it.
We get the announcement that we're going to move to America, so that changes everything, because not only do you have to think about living together, if you're living together with friends, that changes a lot.
I moved to Valencia in season 5, so that was like more for the fun of moving as well, right? Like you move, you're the first time you're doing your own laundry, it's the first time you're cooking, it's the first time you're doing all these things. Like I'm past that, and the hardest thing for me in season 5 was when I went home from Valencia to Denmark and I saw all my friends, saw my family again. I realized how much I've missed them.
I sent him across Atlantic for the first time when he was 15. Bye, son, have fun. Yeah, but of course, it's a damn long flight for us. I hope we can go visit him, the house, his friends, but it's so natural. It's the next step.
It was always kind of rough because we were super young. We were 15 and flying to Germany.
We didn't really have any thoughts about whether this was a wise decision. When he came and said, this is an opportunity, both my wife and I, we said to him, well, go for it. Certainly followed them very closely despite the time difference, and we've been up at late night going to work the next morning. And that's always very, very exciting.
It's kind of a relief, the fact that Fred is going as well. If you're alone, like you're away from your comfort zone, you're away from your city, you're away from your friends, you're away from your parents. And I could imagine that it could be a little lonesome if you're not that outgoing as a person. And the fact that you can travel with your best friend, make sure that you have a mate at your side as you used to have at home, is very comforting and nice.
I guess it kind of shows that it's more of a serious thing rather than like just something to do for fun for a bit,
I've had time to think about it and to observe him, and one of the things I thought about is if his work ethic was as good as for school as it is for gaming, then he would have been a straight A student, so he's definitely passionate about it.
Michael has always been very quick to see the bigger picture and things. He would come to me for help, but then he would see the answer and I had to finish the problem to convince myself it was the right answer, but damn if he wasn't right.
Twig and I have talked about this, like to be able to watch the SPL games with each other and point things out, I think it's really nice, because before I would just take notes and then just bomb the group DMs and you wouldn't even read half of it. There's no way, you probably wouldn't even read any of it. But to just be able to have those conversations naturally, I think will be really cool.
I almost forgot the exact time in which he was gaming, and I was in the store and one of my cousins texted me and said, Polar Bear Mike is kicking ass.
I love how excited Mike gets when playing the game, because he's a little bit quiet, introverted around the house, and then when we hear him downstairs when he's streaming or playing, he has a whole different persona, very outgoing, a little bit bossy, if you will, when I hear him talking to people.
Yeah, my entire family supports me. They weren't able to make it to Atlanta, but they were all watching it. My brother actually sent me this video of my mom was crying when I won.
I have other thoughts on competitive advantages and stuff that you can kind of take advantage of because of the move, but I don't really want to go into that.
Personally, for me, it's good. I feel like I perform better at LAN. Obviously, every team's going to think that too, but I think we're better than other teams, so I don't care what they think.
I know we have a target on our back since we won. I don't know why, it just feels like people love to beat me, so I feel it when I play against people. I know that they want to beat me really bad, because I don't know, there's just something about every team I'm on, they're like, oh man, I don't like that. I just want to beat them, and I'm always up for the challenge.
The players up to the challenge of the move then had another one to face. Without restrictions, who would they team with? And would we see any rookies rise from the minor league?
Do I just start now?
Yeah, you can start whatever.
Going into the Pro League is a very good shot, I don't know, cut. Yeah.
I think Lasbra's transition is in two parts. It's from SML to SPL and jungle to mid.
Homie's very good at Smite game, and it's been a long time, I think, since we've seen a new person, and I put that in quotes, he's been around a long time. It's been a long time since we've seen somebody as talented as him new to the scene.
I think Lasbra as a jungler were on the rise. He had this moment where he didn't seem calculated or thought through, but he was overall pretty solid as a jungler.
Yeah, I'm very happy I get the opportunity. I got picked up for Trifecta as a mid laner, so I'm switching from jungle to mid, which is of course a very hard thing to do.
Lasbra is definitely a player who is capable of playing at an SPL level. My concerns is whether or not that level is set for him in mid lane position like he currently is, as opposed to when he was a jungler. I think from a jungler standpoint, he was definitely ready to be like a rookie member for the SPL.
It shows me that they have a lot of faith in him because they put him in that role. It's a good time for this swap, I think. It's a shallower pool in mid lane. A lot of people are doing it that don't normally do it. So maybe he won't get blown up as much as he would if everyone else was in there.
It's going to be a challenge for him for sure. But I also know that he plays the game so much, and I respect that he puts in effort to really show his teammates also that he's willing to put the blood and sweat and tears into it. And I think eventually he will rise up again and he will be a solid mid laner. I mean, going up against Lasbra on game day is gonna be. I mean, losing to Lasbra would be kind of ironic because we kind of brought him into the game, right? But then again, if he wins against us, I can only be happy on his behalf.
I've been playing all the time for 1.5 years straight, streaming every day, put in the effort, and I put in like a lot of thought process, how to get better and all that, and then when we get to start scrimming and all that, it's just gonna get even better and more easy.
Trifecta as a whole, I think, is a team that's going to have its ups and downs. I see them more as a team that's there for the upsets. They're there to play spoiler, is what it feels like more than anything else.
Going into the game, I have no barrier for friendship or whatsoever. I'm just gonna put that boy to sleep.
Sanford Soccer is technically not a rookie. He showed up once for Eager before his time. He failed miserably. It's not on him.
I personally loved playing the Zap on Eager. It just kind of ended poorly, I guess, with him like not having the motivation then or feeling a bit burned out, so I wanted to take a split off.
This year's SK Gaming, in my mind, is going to go very simply. Is the meta still revolving around mid lane and how well your mid laner is playing? Because if it does, they're going to do really well. Because I think Paul is honestly one of the best players in the world.
He like definitely owns like everybody, at least in the minor league he did, right? And then he still, I don't even know how to explain it. The feeling like when he wrecks you, you kind of don't even, like in the minor league I remember thinking like it wasn't him or he wasn't that good or something, but I still get wrecked and I don't know, you kind of like don't want to accept it in a sense.
There is no player ever besides Baskin that has joined a team mid-season and made the type of impact that Paul made for last year's Trifecta, this year's SK.
As players enter the league, they start someplace and they grow. Paul's ground floor is higher than any other player we've seen in perhaps ever. Zapman has stepped back and allowed Sam and Paul to take the spotlight, and that allows his team to really flourish. Don't be surprised to see them be an absolute contender, perhaps not in the beginning of the year, but towards the middle and especially that second half, SK is going to be a real team.
Most people kind of still doubt us, which I guess is just another motivator for us, but I think we should definitely be rated pretty highly, and I'd say our goal is to just perform well at Worlds, at least get top 2 or whatever, try to improve from last season.
Last year, Dignitas was the team that was so damn good off of raw talent alone.
2 years, where there's been the same issues is a red light saying you need to change. And I think our biggest reason for failure has been our team environment.
Trix and QVO are dicks, like, just look at them, man. The two clowns. The talented players, I just feel like they haven't had the teams that are correct with them.
But we were looking at players that has that great mentality, has the mentality of wanting to change and learn and get better. And that's why first Ataraxia came to mind, because me, Harry and Fred we are the core three, I would say now.
I'm actually eager to see what this squad can do with the addition of specifically Ataraxia, who has a history of bringing players together.
I think objectively, from a talent standpoint, they downgraded. But I think the team upgraded. And I think that the team will do better, particularly against other top teams, because I think strategically they'll hold their own. Where in the past, I think they just this is Dignitas, this is what they do, they're not going to change it. If you're good enough, you'll beat them. If you're not, they'll roll over you. And that was kind of it.
I agree with the change they're making, like going with Hurry and Ataraxia, like two really good players, but have completely different play styles to them. So that's going to make them think more with a head and go, is this a good play? Whereas Trix is like, I don't know, it's like a caveman. He just runs in with his club and just goes in.
The one big thing about Hurwin is, mechanically speaking, he's your guy. He is probably never going to miss an ability when you need him to hit it, and I think that's one of the big reasons why Dignitas decided to go with him as their mid laner.
Hurry will play the best he's ever played this year, because he'll have a team that kind of takes pressure off of him in terms of having ideas and having to command the team and stuff. I think Nate and Hurry together are going to get along really, really well, and I think Nate is kind of like the perfect complement to Trix tank, where he can reel him back at times if he needs to, but he's going to let him do his thing. He's not going to be a complete stickler and make him do what he wants him to do. I think Nate will have a really good balance there.
They're just funny, and it's just going to be a top team to watch. I'm excited to see how they do myself.
I still have things I want to accomplish. I still want to win. I think this year, for us to be successful, we need to have a strong team environment, teamwork. I think we need to come together as a unit and bring out the best thing in each other. Have an open mind to discussion, keeping things fresh. Is there something new we've seen, and keep the ball rolling, sort of.
I think that they probably won't be number one, but their issues won't lie in synergy.
Baskin wanted to stay in college. Scream is in high school, so we can't play. So I needed a different jungler. I talked to Hazer, and I was just asking him what Twig was like, and I think Twig and I had a mutual interest in playing with each other. So Twig and I talked about, every player, what we wanted to do, what we liked, who we didn't like, and there were a lot of people for every role that kind of crossed our minds, and I felt I was really happy with basically the job we did in free agency or whatever, talking to everyone and seeing what people were like and what they wanted to do and just being honest with everyone.
Rival looks like a solid team. Panic at mid is questionable. Never seen him as a mid player, honestly.
I definitely think Rival's biggest issue is going to be a Panda Cat moving role. He has a lot of potential, so if he can get his potential and his great place as an ADC going into mid, if he can fulfill that and adapt and learn quickly, then they will have success. But if they need to be the best, he also needs to build synergy with Twig.
I'm happy to see Panda Cat being the one to step down. He's got a lot of flexibility in his roster. I know that he's played quite a bit of mage ADCs before.
Twig obviously going from Prime to another mid was worried that it's just going to feel way different because he's so used to Pretty Prime, and Pretty Prime has been so good for so long. And what he really wanted was a team with a good work ethic and would do really well in scrims and had a good attitude. And Panda was in my experience the best teammate I ever had, and he always worked really hard in scrims. He would always pick whatever his team asked him to play. He would always bounce ideas off people. He would criticize people in a way where he wouldn't be, sometimes it would go over the line, but for the most part, he would be very blunt and also respectful at the same time. So I thought Panda had a lot of really good qualities.
I am going in with a glass half full mentality. I'm optimistic about his role swap because I don't think Panda got nearly enough credit for how good he was in ADC. The dude has been dominant in duo lane and he's worked so well with PBM that staying in the same team as PBM I think will ease that transition a little bit.
Ryan will talk about how hard mid lane is, but ignore aggro, right? You can do it, just hit your abilities.
We got a preview of the Arkil PBM duo lane at last year's United Invitational and they did very, very well.
Yeah, so at a United Invitational, the most fun part about that tournament is experiencing what different people are like, how they play, you know, how they calm, you know, their attitude, what they like, and there is a competitive advantage of that, of like just knowing what they're like, and you know that goes to everyone who plays in the tournament, but it's also just cool. What I really was interested in is Panda and I had always thought that Arkil was one of the best, if not the best ADCs in Europe, which is really hard to tell because ML was super good, Vote was super good. But yeah, we had really thought that there were like a lot of parallels between how he played and how Panda played, so I just wanted to see that for myself. And it was super similar. It was really scary.
And they sat down together and something clicked. They immediately started playing well. They were playing off of each other. I was sitting there, I was like, man, if only we had international teams. I want you guys to play together. They said the same damn thing, and guess what? Now we got international teams, and they're playing together.
I think he kind of let me do my thing a little bit with just like, you know, calling how I wanted to play the lane, or like if I wanted to tower dive, or if I wanted to like do Gold Fury, set stuff up, do invades or stuff, and yeah, it just felt really like natural to play with him. So then when the opportunity came up and I like talked to Arkil a bit, then it was just an easy decision, especially because we didn't know what we wanted to do with mid. So I'm like, you know, these are the two ADCs I want to play with. You go here, and then I'll play with the other one. So yeah, it worked out.
They'll be really aggressive together, and I think that's good. That's how me and Fumble want them to play aggressive, because then we play equally as aggressive, and the better players will win.
Polar Bear, Mike, and Akil is quote-unquote going to be the best duo lane of 2019, without a doubt.
If they've got the balls to go against us, I'm down to dance.
Starting, I think NICE is going to be the top dog. They're going to be the team to beat, guaranteed.
I see this as like my biggest opportunity to show that I'm more than just like a flashy, good mechanical player. This is my chance to show my leadership, show that I can take four players that are the best players in their roles, bring that talent together and make everyone perform to their limit and beyond that.
So without a doubt, the new super team in the house. A great team, all insane individually. Suho's probably the best mid laner, Dapting probably the best jungle. It goes on all the way around, you know?
I feel like they're going to have a lot of personality clashes. Like, that's just my opinion there. Zyro's adapting, Def Walker, I think those are the biggest problems. I think Vote will be fine, like he's always chilling anyway.
I'm just excited to play with good players that have the same mindset as me. We want to win, and I'm excited to be taking a role within the team where I'm going to be the one trying to melt the team together, I guess you can say. So it's a big responsibility, right? Because I have to be the one that makes sure that this team works. It feels like, because other people in this team won't and shouldn't be giving up some of their carry potential. That's my role, that's my job, right? And going from like having the highest KDA and having a big ego, and then just being ready to just die for the team and having bad games, and you still have to be mentally in because you're the shot caller. It's a big change, it's a big responsibility.
They have a lot of personality, more than in our team even, so it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to do. If they figure it out personal-wise and team-wise, then it's without a doubt going to be the best team. If not, it's gonna crumble for them at LAN and so on, or it's LAN every time now, so it's gonna crumble for them overall, and that's what I kind of expect is gonna happen.
So I think when a lot of people think of super teams, they think of a lot of really good players. It's more like an all-star team where you get the best players and then you just kind of mesh them together and you hope it works, but usually it doesn't work out. And that's why I can see people would call us a super team, because we are very known personalities and we are known that we're really good players mechanically. But I wouldn't say we're a super team. I would say we're an all-star team, but we're not a super team, because a super team is a team that has achieved like literally legendary status. And there's only one team that's done that, and that's the Energy squad, the Epsilon squad.
I feel like what I do is what a lot of players should do, and a lot of players do try to do as well, because I've had players approach me and say, yo, I've got this player and this player, let's make a team next year in America, and I'm in a position where I know this guy, respect them, but the roster's shit. If they ask me why, which I would prefer someone to do, I'll say you're just not good enough, you need to work on this, this, this. And I feel like when I was in that position, I was pretty lucky because I didn't have people to judge me to that degree, because no one had achieved that much at that time. So it was easier for me. Now I've got a bit more to back me up for how I see myself as a player. Like, you know, I've won Worlds and people go, you know, some haters will go, oh, but you got carried. It's like, are you telling me like that team player's been carried twice through Worlds, through all those different teams, and every year we've had the hardest bracket? No, not a single player's been carried. Every single player has put their 100% A game, and you know, everyone in Energy is brilliant. They could do the same role I do of teaching people maybe. I just feel like it's just me as a person.
So the reason I wanted to team with Rafa so badly was because I felt like I could bring out the potential in him and he could bring out the potential with me. I think partly with the reason with that was because we were good friends. I feel like if you're good friends, I mean, look at Jeff and Barra, like, for example, they've been together for about, what, 6 seasons now, probably even more than that, 7 seasons if you're including pre-season. And, you know, it shows, like, they're a great duo and they know what to do. I bet they don't even speak to each other half the time because they know what they're doing because it's, you know, it's on their mind. So I feel like we can get into that groove.
I feel like there's less pressure on me. Like, I have cherry-picked a team from day one. And I feel like it's less pressure on me because it's more of, I know all 5 players, like myself, I know we're all good enough to do the job. It's just more of how we turn up on the day. Whether we win or lose, you know, I respect them no matter what. I know they're good enough to win regardless. It'd have to be something that's big and like a massive problem to make us play really bad. Like, I could never see us getting shit stomped. There's no pressure for me.
I feel like everybody says that we're this 50-50 team where we're either really, really good or we're really, really shit. I don't think that's the case. I feel like the worst thing that would happen would be lack of miscommunication, not even lack of communication. Everybody speaks on that team. We've played with them already.
There's like a lot of history between the Renegades and our team, right? There's always been some rivalries and stuff. So it's definitely going to be an amped-up game. I think those are going to be super close sets. Hopefully we're going to pull out ahead.
Renegades is automatically a good team because Cherry on LAN, I don't think people realize Cherry is going from like 200 ping when he was playing in Egypt online to LAN ping, and it's not playing the tournament game on LAN ping. It is he gets to practice Naja and actually point and click and actually hit his abilities. That alone is going to make that team way, way better. Cherry was already a good player. I think everybody across the league is expecting him to do really well. Dardez, the best player in the world, when he was a support, is now playing mid, and I really do mean, like, he is a super sick player. I think playing with Raffer actually will help him a lot. Funball looked pretty good at the Invitational. That's kind of the last time he played on, like, a good team. So I think he'll be fine, and then Nika improved a ton last season. I think, in my opinion, at the start of the year, he went from literally the worst player in the SPL to, I think, like, he was on the upper end of European solo laners at the end of the year. I think he improved a lot. So if they keep that up, I think they can be a really good team.
This year, you know, it was just the right year for us.
And with that, Season 6 is finally here.
I'm just super stoked for everything to be at LAN. There's always a different energy.
It's going to make a lot more people confident, which can naturally just make all the teams better.
The broadcast as a whole is going to be just more dope. Every time you tune in, you see your favorite players instead of twice a year.
You know, you can make a different bond, you can practice better, and it's just going to be exciting to get it to the next level.
So I think ultimately it means we'll get the best team. It does mean that I think you'll have to deal with some challenges you maybe wouldn't have had to when you're playing from home. So part of the game might be who can adapt to that the best.
Because it's so easy when you get upset to just log off of Discord, shut off your computer and be done with the day or whatever. But when you have to literally live with the people that you're playing with, you can't just like, I mean, I guess you could technically lock your door and then, you know, not talk to anybody then, but you gotta be able to come out of your shell.
I'm just gonna look forward to it, I'm gonna improve, and hopefully everything goes all right.
We're ready for the challenge. It's gonna be fun.